Good morning, humanity. It is June 13th, 2022, and it's the favorite time of our week because it's Mondays with Bev and Paul. And hi, everybody. My name's Paul.
Good morning. This is Bev.
Hello, Bev. Good morning to
Hello.
you. So, are you staying nice and cool out there in Tombstone,
Not
Arizona?
bad. Not bad. Yep.
100, yeah, just 100.
It's only 92 yet.
Yeah, I know. We had 72 degrees at 4 a.m. and then by 6 it was 90. So
Right.
yay, we love it.
We love the high desert. Yes, we do.
So hey everybody, we have an awesome show today. We are building on last week's show, The Power of Touch, and we're calling this The Power of Touch 2.0 or 2. Dr. Kenna Stephenson. Last one was National Geographic. And we want to share with you Dr. Kenna Stephenson's book. Her first book was called Awakening Athena, Resilience, Restoration, and Rejuvenation for Women. Well, there's a whole chapter called The Power of Touch. And the reason I wanted to talk about it again was she just contacted me, her publisher, because she's doing an audio book.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to write a review, both about that and chapter 7 it is. So we got so inspired. We just have to go over some of this. The name of the audio book is called The Gospel of Women Help, Awakening Athena Again.
And still.
Yes, still on and on. This woman is very powerful in bringing to women. Let me just go over here. Just a couple of lines from her intro that will be in her audiobook. Medicine in the 21st century preys on women through performing unnecessary procedures, prescribing excessive synthetic medications. I will assist you in becoming a believer in your own intuition and ability to advocate for yourself and women you love. Women must empower themselves against the madness, mayhem, and bikini focus of women, medicine, and the gospel of women. That's the beginning. That's the beginning.
As a medical doctor, what courage for her to say that, coming from, as we know, her background, and coming out and having the audacity to speak like that is so wonderful.
Yeah, and when we first met her, it was over 20 years ago. And the reason we're talking about it also is we're going to meet her this week.
We are. I'm so excited to meet Kenna.
Yes, we're going up to Prescott. She's now living in the Prescott Valley with her husband. Her kids are all out on their own now. So I think she's really stepping into this new phase after 20 years of being part of the system. She's creating her own, she's empowering herself to create her own message. Powerfully. And she really wants BioTouch out there. So she's having us come to this. It's this big expo, and they bring in dentists and doctors, and she wants BioTouch to be there. It's for anybody in the community who is poor and doesn't have health care.
The timing is so perfect, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible.
As usual.
So, that's the beginning of that book, and the idea of empowering women. And we were talking about that the power of that empowerment of listening to your intuition. And as a man, I'm excited about this. It's like, yes, you go, girl. It's like, it's about time.
I love that, because as we were also talking, this is not about looking at human beings who are physically in a female body, and then looking at human beings who are in a male body. This is a perception that we've been having, and part of the reason I think BioTouch is when we talk about that equality that it brings into a relationship, where each of us, whether you're male, female body, are having a relationship, a polarity of male, female within us. This is not just about women who are in physical female bodies. This is about awakening the Athena in all of us, whether, I don't care what your body looks like. You being a male body, Paul, you are also feminine, masculine. Right. And the fact that this is awakening within men also is empowering for all of us.
Yeah.
It's time for equality now. And I love what she's saying, whether she is being explicit about that or not. She is saying, men, embrace your feminine, awaken your own Athena, because it's time now for that equality.
Right. So if we can be totally supportive with this BioTouch, because BioTouch breaks down those barriers. And so she has this whole chapter on chapter 7. And what's interesting about the power of touch that she talks about, and let me start with that really good quote she gave. She goes, "The skin is more than a protection against the external environment. It is the interface of the external environment with the inner world of thought and feeling."
Wow.
I mean,
beautiful.
Throughout this book, she is so powerful with her words, the exquisiteness she gives of her words. I mean, it just goes over and over as I was listening to it. That
her
it really,
wisdom is pouring out.
It is, and being a woman doctor in the medical field, of a male medical field, she's had to deal with lots of stuff, and she's just stepping out there on her own and really trying to get BioTouch out there. So the whole section that she talks about, there's all these little pieces to it. She goes everything from when touch was ancient times, back in the beginning of humanity, touch was it was an art form.
Yeah.
And we talk about that.
I know, I love that. Art and dance. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes. And BioTouch is an art form. We've always said that. We teach you a set of points. Yes. But it's just the beginning. It's sort of like it's giving us permission to touch. It's resurrecting the reputation of touch from ancient times. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So just by reaching out and touching another one.
So desperately needed now.
Yeah.
Humanity needs this message.
Yes. And what's interesting in the power of touch, then she goes through the history. She goes into touch in the animal kingdom, the power of touch from birth to death, which was very interesting to me because we read that also in the National Geographic, that one of our first senses is the baby coming out wanting to touch.
Right.
And she has dealt both with birth and death, where she says even in death, the last sense that people have is the sense of touch.
Interesting.
Oh my God.
I love it.
I mean, it's like...
really, it's the whole journey here.
Right. Yes.
Touch.
And she talks about that over and over, that whether you're 4, 5, 6 years old or 96 years old,
right,
the importance of women empowering themselves. The book is designed really a lot with women through menopause too.
Yes.
That initiation, as you talked about. What you call it? Initiation by fire or something?
I did. Menopause is a woman's initiation of fire. Yeah. She says something in that audio that I thought was amazing. Menopause is a natural function of a woman's body. It is not something out of the norm that these medical doctors pump you with these, estrogen pills and all that kind of stuff. This is a natural phenomena that happens in every woman's body, one way or the other. It is not a medical, oh my goodness type of thing. And so I think that this is really important, because this attitude that she has about menopause can bring a woman back into, wait a minute, this is not happening to me. This is happening within me. This is happening as part of my feminine evolution in this body. It's a fire by initiation by fire. Fire is amazing. That's what that touch ignites. BioTouch ignites the fire in the cells.
Right, and creates a different dialogue. Right, and Bruce Lipton said, creates a different dialogue, and it's a dialogue of love.
Dialogue of love.
And that's interesting, because real love, has always been talked about as a burning fire. I mean, all the great mystics talk about love as
it's the
this
fire in the heart.
Yes.
Fire in the heart. Come on.
So BioTouch is the initiation through fire too.
It is.
All right, we're getting into this.
Initiation.
So and then also in this chapter on the power of touch, she talks about cultural differences, which is interesting. How they looked at people in coffee houses here in America compared to those in European countries like France and Italy, and how you know, in an hour maybe a couple in America touched each other or reached out and touched one another a few times in an hour, and in Europe it was dozens of times.
Well, hey, wait a minute now. Those Paris, those Italians and Parisians, they touch women on the butt all the time. You know that big fallacy about, oh boy, these Latin people.
Yeah, so she found a huge difference in cultural, which is another real interesting fact of BioTouch came through a Western-minded person. However long it was here before, whether it's ancient Egyptian or even before then, it was reawakened in the Western mind. It was like resurrecting this power of touch, making it okay to touch, bringing touch as a power of healing instead of a power of hurting. It's really important right now.
I think what's really empowering for all of us too is if we realize that this power of touch, we always say it's innate in us. It already belongs to humanity. Humanity has used it before.
Right.
And now it's back. Yeah. And it's important, more important probably than ever at this time. So this is something, as we always reiterate, you don't have to go looking for it. Some guru out there. If you are the guru,
that's it.
We're all empowered in our own lives and our own feelings and thoughts, as she says, with this touch on the skin.
Yeah.
This is our journey.
And, the research, what's interesting too, throughout the book and throughout everything that she talks about, has incredible data and research behind it. I mean, she's not just talking philosophically here.
Oh, no.
She has tons of data and research, and especially with BioTouch. She's the one that did our major BioTouch research. She also talks about the maternal touch idea and touching preemie babies, how they used to think, oh, you just put them in that little cubicle and don't touch them. But they found by touching that baby, the immune system responses start developing. The baby starts growing, and so they've changed that. And this whole idea in this orphanage, where they looked at two different orphanages, and one had less food than the other, but the one that had more food had a taskmaster. Those kids didn't grow, but the one that had very little food and had a very loving taskmaster, those kids grew and they were vibrant and they were healthy. So they really saw the importance of caring touch, just the power of that.
And I mean, there's too much proof and data out there. And now we've got organizations like National Geographic going, wait a minute, something's going on here. This is important. This is powerful.
And there's an interesting part, and I've just reread the whole chapter again. She talks about the whole power of healing touch. And she says, when the stethoscope came in, that's when things started to get wacko. Because when they used to listen to heart, the doctor would just put his ear to your heart. I mean, think about it.
Wow.
I mean, it's like, oh my God, we have come so far away from that kind of interaction.
It's so sterile, isn't it?
Yeah, right. You got to put this whole little thing on. And then she talks about how touch is in crisis, and it is. We've become so paranoid of touch because of how it's been so misused, and so she did her major research. I mean, you talked about how we all have it within us. She took her first research project, again, to go over it. She took 75 participants. Many of them have reached the max of drugs and medication in the medical system. And she took 29, I didn't know it was that many, 29 of her colleagues and taught them BioTouch. And they're the ones that did this research project where they asked that SF-36 questionnaire, 8 domains. 4 of them were physical and 4 of them were emotional. Psychological things. And she was blown away because after 8 weeks, every single domain from these practitioners who had just learned BioTouch, every single domain had improved. Unheard of, she said. Unheard of. And so then over the course, she added, of course, blood spot testing and saliva testing to measure cortisol levels. But then she did the gene expression thing. And I never really understood that until I read it again and listened to her. Because what she did is she took skin biopsies, and she could only do 4 people because it was very expensive to do.
Yeah.
And she took these skin biopsies and they put it into this big machine, and it measures gene expression. So what she found out was that the gene expression, the effect of a particular gene, directs the development and function of the human body and all other living organisms. So gene expression is what basically makes us move. And what she found with the BioTouch intervention produced a favorable effect in upregulating genes that were important to the immune system function, and genes related to an increased risk of cancer and dementia were downregulated, or what she says, turned off. She only found that with 4 people, but the research was so prominent. Yes, and I didn't.
Yeah, I've never really dealt in that either.
So it turned off all those things. So just talking to her recently, she's seeing a huge uptick in cancers and tumor, and people sort of losing their minds from this pandemic and the stress and not being touched and stuff, which is why she's like so into wanting to get BioTouch out there again, because just in that gene expression thing, it is awesome.
All that gene expression and the environment within the body, we call it. This is why. We say that BioTouch is a holistic system, because health is about the immune system, which is what that data that she did and that research and those working with those postmenopausal women, that cortisol levels and the interleukin, it's the immune system environment for the body that I think BioTouch is so critical for. Right. Because when your immune system is functioning healthy, oh my goodness, there's an equilibrium going on in the body, as well as, outside in those but it's the relationship, the interrelationship in the body that's coming into an equilibrium and a balance, and then we have health. So what she said, she says, I'm thinking if you have BioTouch just once a week,
right,
for maintenance, your health and quality of life will greatly improve. Once a week?
Yeah. I mean,
come on.
And we're talking 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And since you're all effective, you can just do it right at home. You can do it before dinner. Do it as your prayer for your meal, or afterwards for your dessert, or before you go to bed, or first thing when you get up. And you're talking 10 or 15 minutes, folks. It's not a lot of time.
What we said before is, did you brush your teeth?
Right.
Yeah. Did you have your BioTouch?
Right. So that's the goal. That's the goal, the power of touch.
Right.
And we're looking forward to seeing Kenna. We have ways to learn it. Go to justtouch.com. We're here for you. We can teach it to you over a phone if you just want one thing to do. But, come to our workshop here on the 23rd. That's next week, where we're going to teach you about how to work on tennis elbow. With Julia Dara. And we have just any kind of way you can do it. There's just go to our website, and there's all kinds of classes there. So we're here, folks. We're here. We're excited. Thank you, Kenna, for all that you do. We look forward to having you on our show.
Absolutely.
She is an awesome speaker. She's actually coming to Tucson for a sleep conference, and then I think she's going to do a presentation here in January or February. So we look forward to that.
Wonderful.
Well, I'm all hyped up. Thank you, Bev.
I know. Thank you, Paul.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you again next week. Bye, all.
Bye.
I can feel the pain in sunshine or rain. So it's not caused by the weather, but it doesn't hurt that much after I feel your loving touch and we spend some time together. You take my pain away each and every day. You're an angel from heaven on high. Your butterfly touch helps me heal so much, and I get better as time goes by. You take my pain